The Street Files. A complete mystery short story every Wednesday. File 16. An accident for Mariel Bevere. When she was at school, Mariel Bevere never dreamed that she would be so successful in her 20s. Her parents had advised her to get good, steady jobs, but she ignored them. She knew what she was good at, and set up her own company on her 21st birthday to sell her own clothing designs. Now, her name is a brand worth tens of millions. She slams the door on her 6-bedroomed house in Wimbledon, throws a black plastic bag into the dustbin, and drops into her silver-grey Jaguar E-Type Roadster. The V12 cuts through the morning air as she accelerates along Murray Road and reaches the junction with the main route that runs along the southern boundary of Wimbledon Common. As she pulls out, suddenly there's a man in the road. She has no time to brake before she hits him. His torso only makes a dull thudding sound as his skin meets the car's bodywork, and she thinks he's going to roll all the way over the windscreen and on top of her. But the momentum dies away, and she is left in silence, looking at his lifeless body. Within a few seconds, there's another car behind her on the road, then another and another, until there's a queue stretching back all the way to Wimbledon High Street. The 12th car in the queue is Olivia Street's red MG Midget. "Bloody traffic," says Poppy from the passenger seat. After another 5 minutes of not moving, Poppy is more frustrated. "I'm going to see what it is, Mum." She steps out of the sports car and walks off. As Poppy arrives, she can see a Jaguar in the middle of the road, with 2 coats on the bonnet covering something. She walks up to a group of people who are now gathered around the car. "Are you broken down?" she says to a man standing there with fair hair. "She ran someone over," he says, nodding towards a woman with dark hair. "We've called the police." Poppy tries to overhear any more news about the accident. Then the woman with dark hair turns to look at her. "What happened?" says Poppy. "He just stepped out." "You're Mariel Bevere, aren't you?" The woman ignores the question and continues her stream of consciousness. "I killed him. I'll go to prison." "You need a lawyer." "My mum's a lawyer. She's down the road in the queue. I don't know what I'm going to do," says Mariel. "Shall I get my mum? She can help you." Mariel does engage with Poppy's words now. "Yes. Can you?" Poppy walks back along the queue of cars, but it's much shorter now, as the drivers realise this incident is going to take some time, and they're turning in the road to head back around the other side of the common. Olivia is only second in the queue when Poppy leans on the side of her MG. "Mum, Mariel Bevere has run someone over." "The designer?" "Yeah, she needs a lawyer. Come on." Olivia pulls the MG onto the verge, and they walk to the crash scene. The traffic police have arrived and are putting out cones to block the road in both directions. One of them is on the radio to get the road closed, and diversion signs set up at the junctions in both directions to stem the flow of cars and vans that have piled up along the road called Southside Common in the 15 minutes since Mariel hit the man. Poppy and Olivia walk over to the designer. "That's her, Mum," says the teenager, indicating Mariel. "Hello, Mariel. I'm a lawyer. My daughter says you need representation." "Yes." The police officer, who is not on the radio, walks over. He has kind blue eyes and dark hair. "You the driver, madam?" Mariel's face is fearful as she nods. "Tell me what happened." She relates the sequence of events and stresses that the man suddenly appeared out of nowhere. "We'll need to take a formal statement, madam," he says. "Mrs. my lawyer?" "Olivia Street, Constable," she says, and offers her hand. "PC Maddox, you can go and sit in the patrol car. Give me 10 minutes, we need to sort the traffic out and call the FCIs. Mariel looks confused. "Forensic collision investigators," says Olivia to her. And she turns to Maddox. "Do you have an ID on the dead man, officer?" "I haven't looked yet," he says. And he walks off to the Jaguar. Olivia, Poppy and Mariel walk to a Volvo V90 police car and sit inside. "Let's go over what you said earlier," says Olivia. "You left your house on the Grange at about 9:30, drove along to the junction with Southside Common, pulled out and hit the man." Mariel nods. "You couldn't have been going very fast if you'd only just pulled out." "I don't know, 20 miles an hour maybe." "What's the last thing you saw before the collision?" "Nothing." "Think back, you're at the end of the road. You're turning left. You stop. You look right to check for traffic?" "Yes." "Then what?" says Olivia. "You press the pedal and move off?" "Yes." "Between that moment and the sound of the collision, what did you see? Was he standing by the roadside, or in the road already, or on the common and running towards the road?" Mariel's eyes are watery now. "What were you thinking about?" says Poppy. "Have you got any big new designs coming out soon? And you were thinking about them?" "Yes, a new collection launches in 2 weeks. We've had a lot of hassles with deliveries." "What's the biggest hassle you've got right now?" says Poppy. "I've got 3 containers in Southampton and the paperwork got messed up." "Were you thinking about that when you drove along the road this morning?" "Yeah, I'm not sleeping either." The car door opens and Officer Maddox sits in the driver's seat. "We got an ID?" he says. He turns to Mariel to see her face as he reveals the information. "Edward Yoxall." Everyone else can see that. She recognises the name. "You know him, madam?" says Maddox. The car goes silent as they all wonder if she'll lie. "Can I talk to my client alone, officer, please?" Maddox looks at Olivia for a second, then silently nods. He gets out of the Volvo and walks back to the crime scene. "You know Edward Yoxall?" says Olivia. "Yes." "Who was he?" "One of my design team." "You didn't recognise him when you hit him?" says Olivia. "No." "Part of my role, Mariel, is to prepare you for police interview, so I'm going to be tough on you," she says. "Here's what the evidence is indicating. You hit a man on the road and killed him. He's not a stranger. You know him. And he works for you. The chance of that happening is small. The police and the prosecution service will want to be absolutely certain about the facts. So I ask you again, did you see him before the collision?" "No." The woman is more adamant than before. There's a knock on the window, and there are 2 men standing there. "It's my boyfriend Jude, and my dad," says Mariel. Jude has auburn hair and pale green eyes, while Mariel's father is bald, with deep blue eyes like his daughter's. The women get out of the car, and her father wants to know every detail about what has happened, which Mariel relates before he asks to talk to his daughter alone. Olivia and Poppy go off to discuss the case, while Jude rolls a cigarette near the police barrier. The father and daughter have an animated and emotional discussion next to the patrol car. "Those 3 are odd, aren't they, Mum?" says Poppy. "I didn't expect her bloke to be like that. He gives me shady vibes. She's nothing like that. She's lovely every time you see her." "That's just her public image, Poppy. That's not necessarily her personality." "You'd know though, wouldn't you? If a celebrity was lying all the time?" "You can't rely on that as evidence," Celebrity is a performance. It's theatre, constructed to send a message. I like her, though. I'm wearing one of her tops. I didn't tell her. Let's think about the question marks on this case, says Olivia. She didn't want to tell the police that she knew the dead man. Why? Scared of prison? That's what she said. That sounds like she's guilty then, doesn't it? If you were driving along and knocked someone over, and they died, and they're a stranger, how would you react? I'd be sad for them, but an accident's an accident. It's all about intent, isn't it? I had a lecture on it the other week. That's true, but it doesn't answer why she didn't want to tell the police that she knew him. Let's collect more evidence, Poppy. Go and talk to the boyfriend. He barely spoke earlier. I'll go and see if the father has any background on his daughter. The teenager walks out to where Jude is standing at the furthest edge of the police cordon. He takes a drag from his roll-up as she arrives. Are you a designer too? She says. Artist, painter. He doesn't look at her. She uses your designs, does she? Is that how you guys met? He does look at her now. In a pub in Camden, actually. Is she like her public image? Poppy is still thinking about celebrity. Nothing like a public image. I go out with the real woman, not a public image. That's why we're together. She had a string of men who fell in love with the Mariel Bevere they saw on their phones. Did you know this bloke? Edward Yoxall? Jude's eyes narrow. What? The dead guy, Edward Yoxall? She says. She ran over Eddie. He takes a puff of his cigarette and the smoke curls away on a breeze. You knew him, then? He was a mate. Poppy can see that Jude is emotional about this news. Olivia is standing near Mariel's Jaguar that is now surrounded by a white police tent. Constable Maddox emerges from one side. Have the forensics officers made a start? She says to him. They have, and they've got some inconsistencies already. Do you want to tell me? She says. Forensics results will all be shared with counsel anyway. They've only just started, but the woman who's leading it, Sue, I know her, and she's good. She's clear that the cause of death was not the accident. Or as she puts it, the injuries are inconsistent with an RTA. What are they consistent with? Sharp force injury, he says. A puncture wound in the side of the torso. A round hole, no more than 2 millimeters across. Sue reckons it hit the lungs, but they won't know until they get him back in the lab. It would have to have been a very long weapon to get that far. Maddox walks off towards his Volvo, where Mariel is sitting with the door open. Any news? Says a man's voice behind Olivia, and she turns to see Mariel's father standing there. My daughter tells me you're her lawyer. The forensics team are collecting their evidence. They won't tell us anything until they've finished. She's distraught. Can she go home? Not yet, Mr. Bevere. That's not my name. Mariel Bevere is a brand name. Our family's name is Shaw. Her name's really Ruby Shaw. When can she leave? It's a police decision, Mr. Shaw. It could be hours. He raises his voice on the air. They may arrest her, says Olivia, if there's sufficient evidence. Ridiculous. It's a road traffic accident. A man died, Mr. Shaw. Did you know him? Of course not. She pauses as she considers this man's words and his demeanour. Edward Yoxall, his name was. And? Olivia's expertise from interviewing hundreds of people over many cases tell her instantly that Mariel's father is hiding something. His aggressive attitude is a front, as he seems to consider that attack is the best form of defence. What she doesn't know is whether he has put this on for this particular conversation, or is it the way he goes about in the world? She pushes him further, as she knows that aggressors eventually trip themselves up. Your daughter knew him. Were they close? What are you talking about? He says. shaking his head in disbelief at this bloody lawyer's stupid questions. She didn't want to tell the police that she knew him. Why do you think that is? Look, whatever your name is, miss, I'll find another person to represent her. We don't need your services. Many thanks. He turns away. Mr. Shaw, she calls after him. Mariel is my client, not you. He doesn't stop or turn, and he continues his fast pace towards the police car to confront P.C. Maddox about his daughter's rights as a citizen. Olivia notices a blonde woman standing at the barrier who has been there for a while. She assesses that she's in her mid-30s, and she can see that her beautiful face is heavily drawn. This appears to be someone with a connection to the events on this road, so Olivia walks over. Can I help? She says to her. You look worried. Is it Edward? What's your name? Says Olivia, sidestepping. Lexi. The sunlight shines off the tears in her blue eyes. Who's Edward? My boyfriend. What did you mean just now when you said, is it Edward? A man died, didn't he? I saw the body before they put that white tent up over the car. Why do you think it might be your boyfriend? Says Olivia. I know her car. Mariel Bevere. They had a thing. He was her boyfriend in the past, was he? In the years when she went from penniless to millionaire, he helped her get where she is today. Then she dropped him. When that artist bloke appeared, I know him too. Lexi nods over to Jude, who is on his second roll-up cigarette, as he talks to Poppy. Tell me about the artist boyfriend. Scrounger, says Lexi. Uses her for her money. Edward was a kind, sweet man. He wouldn't hurt a fly. Her new bloke is vicious. How do you know all this? Edward was obsessed after they split. He used to sit in his car outside her place all night sometimes. We only lived 10 minutes away, so it was easy for him. How did that affect you? I loved him, but he drove me crazy. He wanted to go back to her. But that was never going to happen. I would have done anything to stop his pain. They talk for another few minutes, but Lexi doesn't give any more useful evidence. Olivia thanks her and walks over to Poppy to see if they can talk. They find a part of the site inside the barrier, where they can see everyone who they've spoken to. First things first, Poppy, begins Olivia. It wasn't an accident. Death was caused by a spike, or something long and thin, being pushed into the dead man. And what, he staggered into the road? Says the teenager. That's what the forensics says. They all knew the dead guy too? Says Poppy. Mariel told us that he was in her design team, and the boyfriend said he was a mate of his. He was more than just in her design team. He went out with Mariel. Who told you that? That woman over by the barrier there. She was Edward's latest girlfriend. The teenager looks across at Lexi. I'll tell you what we don't know, says Poppy. How did the dad and the boyfriend know that there'd been an accident? They just appeared at the police car window out of the blue? That's a good question. I'm going back to talk to the boyfriend, says Poppy, to do a bit more wheedling. Be careful, says Olivia. Edward's girlfriend thought he could be vicious. I can handle him, Mum. Poppy walks back over to Jude. Mother's, eh? She says. She didn't want anything. He smiles. Want a ciggy? No, thanks, she says. But you can help me answer a question. How come you were here this morning? At the accident? Just in the area. How did you get here? She says. Bike. Why? With her dad? The two of you were on bikes, were you? Yeah. We cycle on the common. Jimmy saw his girl's Jaguar, so we walked over. Jimmy? Dad. I cycle too. What bike you got? Says Poppy. A raw track 210. We've both got one. Nice. Where did you leave them? Over the road. Why? Locked up? Of course. What are you getting at? I'm just interested. she says. "Oh, I need to talk to my mum about something. I'll see you later." As she walks away, he mutters to himself, "What's she on?" She walks back to her mother. "I have an idea, Mum. Follow me." She leads Olivia to the police tape, and they duck underneath and disappear up the road. After a minute, Poppy turns back to the accident site. "Can they see us from here, Mum?" "I don't think so, Poppy. What is it?" "Come with me again." The teenager leads them over the road to the edge of Wimbledon Common. "What are we looking for?" "2 padlock bikes," she says. They walk along the path that runs parallel to the road. "Over there, by the tree, there's a pair of bicycles chained up." "These are expensive bikes, called Raw Tracks." "Okay," says Olivia. "A feature of the Raw Track range, Mum, is rapid spoke replacement. They're designed for road races where spokes get damaged. You said the man died from a long, narrow spike being inserted into his body, yeah?" "Yes." "There are 16 long, narrow spikes on each wheel, easily removed and replaced, only 40 feet away from the road where the man staggered out and died." They return to the crime scene and talk to PC Maddox about the bicycles, and he agrees to extend his cordon to include the trees where the padlocked bikes are secured. Mariel's father and Jude immediately start to object that their bikes are going to be part of the crime scene. "Let me just talk to Mariel," says Olivia, and she walks over to the woman who is still waiting by the police car. "Your father isn't keen that I represent you. Are you still happy to continue?" "Of course, take no notice of him. That's just his way. He gets angry." "I wanted to ask you some more questions. You said earlier that Edward Yoxall was one of your design team, but he was your boyfriend too, wasn't he?" "Only for 3 weeks, years ago. But I met Jude." "Edward's last girlfriend says that he was obsessed with you and used to sit in his car outside your house." "That's just what she says. She's probably just jealous of my success and can't cope with the fact that her bloke thinks more about me than her." "You know her, do you?" "Lexi, her name is." "I've never heard of her," says Mariel. "I didn't talk to Edward about his personal life after we split. I wasn't interested. It was his fantasy. He needed to get over it." Olivia can see a tide of frustration wash up into Mariel's eyes before the woman realizes that she's shown her hand too much and tries to act calm again. "He loved the Mariel in the brand designs that we plastered all over the underground. We use a model who an ad agency chose to represent the archetypal modern sassy young woman who we sell to," she says. "He wanted that image. He didn't want me. But I couldn't control what he thought." "Did that annoy you?" "In the end, yes." It's the first time that Olivia has seen Mariel be so honest. "Did it annoy you enough to kill him?" she says. Mariel stops now and looks at Olivia for a full second. Then she shakes her head without any words. "Tell me about Jude. Is he kind to you?" "Very." "What about arguments? You must have them. Everyone does in a relationship. Does he often get angry?" "No, he's chilled." "He cycles with your father," says Olivia. "Did they cycle this morning?" "Yeah, Dad picked him up about 7:30. "They go to the Common, do they?" "All over London. Jude does road racing. He's got a flash bike that I bought him for his birthday, and Dad got one too to try and keep up." "Your father seems to have a short temper," says Olivia. "Had you told him about Edward Yoxall and his obsession with you?" She shakes her head. "Okay, that's all for now," says Olivia. "But if you think of anything else that's important, then tell me. Only then can we put together the best defence for you." PC Maddox, Jude and Mariel's father are still discussing the bikes, and Olivia and Poppy join the group. Maddox is explaining the rules about crime scenes. "Until we have collected the evidence we need, your bikes will not be accessible, sirs," You'll get them back, just not yet. That's a £3,000 brag, says Josh. That's as may be, sir, but my earlier comments still apply, whether it's worth twopence halfpenny or £1,000,000. It's good for road racing, is it? Says Poppy, breaking into their conversation. There's a moment when everyone pauses. Then Jude says, Yeah, the best. You get many broken spokes? As there are only 16, you need to replace them straight away, don't you? On the road? Otherwise you'd buckle the wheel, is that right? Jude nods. People could nick the spokes though, couldn't they? She says. And she looks at Mariel's dad. You could just pull them out. You need a spoke wrench, he says. Poppy pretends to be getting more into the topic. Oh, does that take long? Less than a minute. Is that what you did? She says. Mariel's father's face suddenly looks suspicious. You took a spoke out in less than a minute, did you? Stuck it in this boy, who was obsessed with your daughter? You didn't like that, did you? You have to be the one to call the shots, is that right? Mr. Bevere? It's bloody Mr. Shaw. But Poppy is not going to be put off. Why is that so annoying, Mr. Bevere? Someone shut this bloody girl up. He's shouting now. No need to get heated, sir, says PC Maddox. Is that why you were asking me about spoke replacement, Jimmy? Says Jude. You kept asking me. Then we lost each other on the common this morning. I had to call you to find you again. It must have been about half an hour later. A woman's voice cascades in from outside the group. Dad? Is all that true? What have you done? Mariel walks into the circle of people and stands immediately in front of her father. Did you kill him, Dad? The father is frowning. He wouldn't leave you alone, Ruby. I used to see him parked outside your place when I visited and left late to go home. I spoke to him half a dozen times, but he took no notice. He didn't love you, he loved Mariel. Did you arrange to meet Edward this morning, Mr. Shaw? Says Olivia. His eyes look sad now, and he turns back to his daughter. He was outside your house last night. I saw him when I left. I talked to him. Said I could get him close to you. I told him to meet me today on the common. Mariel wipes a tear from her face as it rolls down her skin. Jude and I left early. I lost Jude on purpose and went to the place. I told Edward to meet me. He was there, as arranged. I'd got Jude to tell me how to remove the spokes, and I already had one in the grass. I talked to Edward. Told him to never go near you again. But we argued, and I used the spoke on him. He was still alive when I walked away. Jude and I met back up, and we cycled back past the same place I'd attacked him, because I wanted to check, but he was gone. Then Jude saw the police's blue light. PC Maddox steps forward. If you'd like to come with me, sir. He leads Mariel's father to the patrol car. Can you defend him? Says Mariel to Olivia. I can prepare a briefing for you to go to a barrister. As the police have an admission of guilt, it's just a matter for a judge to consider sentencing, and your barrister will put the case for mitigations. I'll go to the police station with him, she says. They say their goodbyes and the group disperses. Olivia and Poppy walk back to where the MG is parked. Funny, isn't it? Says Poppy. When you know the actual person behind a famous face, their lives are not all perfect like on their socials. Just because lots of people recognize her doesn't change who she is, or what she likes. I'm still going to wear her stuff, though. I know what I like, says Poppy. I'm glad to hear it. She smiles at her daughter. Can we get breakfast, Mum? I didn't have anything when I woke up. They drop into the car, and Olivia turns the key in the ignition. The Street Files, a complete mystery short story, every Wednesday.